Before we get into Mel Kiper Jr.'s grades on the Baltimore Ravens draft class, I want to get a pulse from the flock. If you guys are a fan of this past Ravens draft, do me a big favor and like the video. Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, everybody. Happy Monday to you. We are catching up on sleep, and we are excited about the week to come. On today's show, we're going to tell you about Mel Kiper's 2025 NFL draft grade for the Baltimore Ravens, break down what he had to say about first-round pick Malaki Starks, and kind of how the Baltimore Ravens finished the 2025 NFL draft. And then we're going to, do a little bit of deep dive into the prospects, talk about what we should expect from this new flock of Ravens. So Mel Kiper's grade for Baltimore was a B+. A little bit harsh, in my opinion. Not that harsh, but also similar to mine in a sense. Here's the full draft class. Malachi Starks was the round 1 selection out of Georgia. Mike Green in round 2, the edge rusher out of Marshall. You had 5 total 6th-round picks. Started with Bilal Cohn, ended with Robert Longerbeam, a draft cornerback, twice in that round, of course. Ended the total draft with Garrett Dellinger, the offensive guard out of LSU. So, Mel Kiper gave him a B+. I gave him an A-, but I made sure to specify it was a 90, so it was pretty close to a B+. So, Mel Kiper and myself are kind of feeling similar. And I think where we're both coming from is started off super hot, cooled down a little bit in the middle, and then ended out really hot as well. So, I like to still give him an A because of how great they did in the beginning and the end. But it's far from an A+ because of kind of how they fared from rounds 4 and then the first half of the 6th-rounders. Let's hear what Mel Kiper had to say about Malaki Starks. He said, I've heard this stat many times in the past few months, but the Ravens allowed 58 passing plays of 20 or more yards last season, third most in the NFL. They gave up 7 or more over 2 playoff games. Malaki Starks will help there. Next to Kyle Hamilton at safety, he has the closing speed to arrive as the ball does and either break up the pass or immediately wrap up the receiver. Starks also spent a lot of time at slot corner at Georgia, so Baltimore can use that versatility to its advantage. And I'm going to give Mel Kiper Jr. his flowers. Already, I know he didn't have the best weekend because he was pretty much playing the part of Shedeur Sanders' fanboy, but he had this one called for a very long time, all right? A ton of mock drafts had Malaki Starks being the guy that fell to the Baltimore Ravens. He knew that they were interested. He knew that that was the guy that they wanted. And if he was there, he knew that Baltimore was not going to waste a second in turning in that card. Red pen time. Get them out and grade the Baltimore Ravens 2025 NFL draft, giving them an A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section down below. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. When that time comes, don't worry about it. Go down to the comment section, find this pinned comment, and give me your answer, A, B, C, D, or F. So like I said, Baltimore in the first 2 rounds, I think, had the best first 2 rounds of any team in the National Football League. And then they tailed off a little bit in the middle, ended out really strong late in the 6th and the 7th. And the thing is I don't dislike any of these prospects, all right? I just think that some were reaches based on my draft grades. Now, of course, we're not going to officially know until we see them play football in the National Football League, but this is just kind of how I'm feeling a couple of days after. When you look at the first 2 rounds, round 1, you got Malaki Starks at pick number 27. Round 2, you got Mike Green at pick number 59. Both of those guys I had as top 20 prospects. And then here's where it took a little bit of a dip, okay? You got Emory Jones in the 3rd round. I had him in a 4th-round grade. Teddy Buchanan, I had him in a 5th-round grade. You got him in the 4th. Carson Vincent, you got him in the 5th. I had him in a 6th-round grade. Tyler Loop, got him in the 6th round. I had him as actually an undrafted free agent who you probably would have been able to sign after the draft anyway. LeJonte Wester, the wide receiver out of Colorado. Again, think he's going to could be a fine player. I don't want to say I think he's going to be. But I also had a 7th-round grade on him. You got him in the 6th round. So all of those guys, while I think they could turn into fine pros, you just reach for them, in my opinion. Now, this is where it ends out really strong because you got Anais Peebles in the 6th round. I had a 4th-round grade on him. You had Robert Longerbeam in the 6th round. I had a 5th-round grade at him. You got Garrett Dellinger in the 7th round, and I had a 6th-round grade at him. So you punched above your weight class in rounds 1 and 2. You punched above your weight class at the end in your final 3 selections. It's just that middle where it kind of tailed off. And I'm still hopeful for a lot of these guys, right? I still think a lot of these guys could because they ended up in a really great place with really great coaches and a really great culture, end up being really great pros. But we'll never know 3 years from now. Alrighty, so to get upset at draft grades and to get upset by like what Mel Kiper Jr. is saying or what I'm saying or what anybody's saying, whether it's Bleacher Report, CBS Sports, or anything, it's just kind of ridiculous because like we don't know right now. We're just projecting. And if it happens and then they turn into good pros and those middle rounds are the best picks of this draft, I'd be happy to look like an idiot. Alrighty. Next, I got Mel's thoughts on the rest of the draft. We're going to break down what he had to say about a ton more of these prospects. But before that, I know we're all pumped up about the pick of Malaki Starks. And if you want to get his jersey and get it to you well before the 2025 NFL season, because I tell you, these are going to be flying off the shelves, all you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Starks, alrighty? You won't get it in the one. It will be his number, which will be 24. But you got to act fast because everybody's going to want these. I can promise you that. Chatsports.com/Starks is where you go. Shout out to Fanatics for being the sponsor of today's video. You can find the link to that jersey in the comments and description of today's video. Again, chatsports.com/Starks to get your own Malaki Starks jersey. So this was a typical Baltimore draft. And it's what we've seen over the last couple of years. It's what we could have projected going into it, that they were just going to do what they always do and let the board fall to them. Kiper had more to say about that. They let the board come to them and got some good prospects. Emory Jones Jr. should kick inside the guard and compete for work with Daniel Fa'alele. Robert Longerbeam is a good nickel corner and came at great value. I had him ranked 116th overall, and Baltimore took him late in round 6. Anais Peebles will work into defensive tackle rotation, and Bilal Cohn has some promising athletic traits. Finally, Tyler Loop was my number 1 kicker this year. He has a massive leg, hitting a 62-yarder in college. Let's talk a little bit more about the cornerback out of Western Michigan. If you don't know, now you know him, and you should be excited to see him because I think he's got an incredibly high ceiling. His long speed and quickness is unreal. He's able to recover so easily because of that speed. He's also scrappy enough to play press man coverage, which I feel like is a dying art in the National Football League. However, because of his aggressiveness and because of his scrappiness, sometimes that allows him to give up a lot of chunk plays. But now when you got 2 safeties in Malaki Starks and Kyle Hamilton, they should help be able to clean that up. Let's talk about Anais Peebles, the guy I called the best draft pick for the entirety of the draft. The value where you got him, the 132nd overall ranked prospect, according to our Chat Sports draft analyst, Tom Downey, you got him in the 6th round. He's a great pass rusher, right? And I think that's all this team wants is an interior defensive lineman not named Nnamdi Madubuike that can get to the passer. The size is a little bit lacking, but he makes up for it with his motor, his juice, and his effort. And he is extremely undersized, I will say that. It's going to hurt him a little bit against the run, but like you have Travis Jones in there to be a good defensive tackle against the run. And Anais Peebles can be a guy you just kind of rotate in there in obvious passing situations. And then Robert Longerbeam, the cornerback out of Rutgers, again, a top 186 player. You got him late in the 6th. He's a really, really good athlete, and there's just positive reports coming out about every part of his game on and off the field. However, he's not the best tackler. Kind of suffers in some run support issues. I don't think he's going to come in here and compete for the starting job day 1, but if you get him in the rotation, get him some reps, looking into 2026, he could be a really key cog in the wheel of the Ravens defense. I'm really excited about those 3 players. I just think the value that you got for them, where you were able to pick them, and their production that I'm projecting on them over the next couple of years in their career with Baltimore is really, really exciting. Who is it? Let me know down below. Which draft pick was your favorite, alrighty? I loved Mike Green around 2. I loved the Anais Peebles around 6. But if you got one you're really excited about, like maybe a Teddy Buchanan, Carson Vincent, you let me know in the comment section down below. So ESPN and Mel Kiper were not the only ones who graded the draft. Mel Kiper gave him a B+. Dane Brugler, he didn't do grades. He just ranked them. Gave him a top 10 draft in the National Football League at 9th. Bleacher Report, really, really high on him. Gave him an A. Chat Sports, myself, and Jackson Durham. Can't believe I almost forgot his last name. Gave him an A-. And CBA Sports gave him a B+. So everybody kind of all in the same range. Mel Kiper was a little bit tougher this year, only 5 A grades, A plus to the Cleveland Browns. Shocker there. Seattle, New England, New York, and Philadelphia, he gave them all A's or A minuses. And I agree, I think those all had really, really good drafts. A ton of teams in the B's. Baltimore, Chicago, Houston, and Kansas City, as well as Los Angeles, Tennessee, and Washington. They all got B pluses. Dallas, Green Bay, other teams like Jacksonville, Las Vegas, New York, kind of had more middle of the pack rounds and grades with B's, and then Buffalo, Denver, all with B minuses. And of course, the Los Angeles Rams are B minus, Minnesota B minus, Saints B minus, awesome. Pittsburgh Steelers, worse grade than Baltimore Ravens, they got a B minus as well. The C grades, guys, he wasn't too fond of: Carolina, Detroit, Miami, Atlanta, and Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati easily had the worst draft of anybody in the National Football League, and Mel Kiper seems to agree. Let me know down below, are you ready for the 2025 NFL season? If you are, do me one big favor, like today's video, because after the draft, I know we got the dog days of summer coming up. I could not be more excited for kickoff come August. Thank you so much, every single one of you guys, for sticking all the way to the end of today's video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got you covered for the rest of the offseason. A lot of people take this time off. We do not, right here on the Ravens Rundown. Lock us in right now and subscribe.